Hey everybody, it's me, James Heaton with MADW Productions, and you are tuning into the second episode of our series called Gundam Forge. In this series, we take a Gundam model or a gunpla and we build it from beginning to end. And we have a really good episode for you guys. The model that we have is absolutely awesome, so let's go check it out, alright? Today's episode, we are working on the Shin Musha Gundam, and let me tell you, this guy is awesome. Everybody loves a samurai, and most people here, I'm assuming, loves Gundams, so what could be more badass than a samurai Gundam? This thing is awesome. It's got this beautiful cold trim and piping, this awesome fire orange body, some pretty killer weapons like this awesome old style gun, a sword. This thing is fantastic. Taking a look at the instructions for this one, we can see it's definitely laid out differently than the one we did last episode. The other one was in steps, and this one is just everything is numbered, as in numbered sections. Like the body unit's just number 1, the head unit's number 2, but when you look down to like 3 and 5, that's the right arm, and the waist unit is 10, 11. So obviously we're going to start off with number 1 today with the body unit, so let's get that started. Alright, we got that chest unit finished, and when you're done, it should look like this. I didn't really run into any problems putting this part together. It was fairly straightforward and easy, and I don't think anybody else should have problems with it either. It looks awesome already. I love all the little details you can already see on it. That orange and gold, and it just goes so well together. But now that we got that out of the way, we can start with number 2, or part 2, which is the head unit. So let's get started on that. And like most head units on these model kits, it was done very quickly and relatively painless. And it's already starting to look really cool. This is actually one of the cooler looking helmets and headpieces I've seen on any of the models that I've made. But we've got that out of the way, and so that will take us to the next step of putting this model together. While we take another look at the instruction manual for the model kit, we'll notice that the next step is the right and left arms, and that's numbers 3 through 6. And you'll actually notice that 6 isn't on the manual in this part. That's because that is just the step of putting the arms and the head to the chest unit that we made earlier. So let's buckle down and let's get started on the right arm and left arm. Alright, we now have the right and left arms finished, and it took a little while, but we are finally here with them. I didn't have too many problems with putting these parts together, except I did have a little trouble with the orientation of things, like figuring out how exactly they go onto it. And mostly, if you just look at the instructions carefully and look at the piece carefully, you can avoid this problem. Unfortunately, I don't always do this right away. Also, we finished the 2 shoulder units that go onto this thing. They help attach the arms to the body. Now that we got the arms out of the way, we can go ahead and move on down to the right and left leg, which are steps 7 through 9 in the instructions. So let's sit down and get started on them.
Do you love Maine?
I love you.
Alright, we are done with those pesky leg units, and let me tell you, that was something else, man. Just a word of warning for anybody who's putting this model together. The leg units are very strange. It's a very hard process. This is actually some of the hardest legs I've put together. So do yourself a favor and look at the instructions over and over as you're putting it together. You might miss a step. And also, this one, I've never had to use this on these models yet, but there's a first time for everything. Have a small Phillips head screwdriver with you because you're going to need it to screw something into this, both the left and right legs. So, but we've got it out of the way. That's awesome. Now we're going to move on to the next step, which is the waist unit. Let's take a refreshing look at the instructions for the waist unit. The waist unit is steps 10, 11, and 12. 12 not showing up on the instructions because that is the step of putting the waist unit with the legs on it to the top half that we made earlier. And also, if you notice, we are almost halfway or over halfway done with this model now. So let's get this waist unit out of the way and let's just finish this model up and see how awesome it looks.
I love you.
Alright everybody, we got that waist unit finished, and it wasn't that hard. It was actually pretty straightforward and simple for as far as waist units go for these models. But now the next step is number 12, and we're going to put the legs to the waist unit, and then we're going to connect the waist unit to the top half with the arms, chest, and head that we made earlier. Awesome. This model is really starting to look fantastic. And now that we got that out of the way, we've got one last little step of this part 12 that we've got to do, and that's putting the little backpack together. So let's just put that together so we can move on to the next stuff. Fantastic. We got the backpack put together and put onto the body, and this model is just starting to look exquisite. So we can go ahead and move on to the next steps, which are 13, 14, and 15, and that's putting the gauntlet and shield together. So let's go ahead and get those started. Alright, now we're done with the shield and the gauntlets, and it added some real girth to this model. It makes it look big and bulky. Now, I just wanted to say, I had a little problems with putting some of these parts together, especially on the shields that go on his arms. Some of the, what looks like piping on it. I had problems kind of with the orientation, so definitely look at those a few times over to make sure you have them put on the right way. But also, don't do what I did, and I accidentally cut off one of the parts that connects one of the smaller pipe area things to it. And so I couldn't connect it, so I had to make do without one on the other side. It makes it look a little strange, but it's a word of warning. Just be careful and don't do what I did. And now that we have the shield and the gauntlets out of the way, we are on to the last step of this. We are going to put the weapons together. So let's take a look at the weapons, and then let's get started on that. Alright, that was the last of it. Those weapons are now finished, and they look awesome. They're really high quality, in my opinion. The blades on all the bladed weapons just look super cool with this really reflective plastic. They look like blades to me. Super detailed. It's awesome. And you know what that means? We are done with this model. You can put the stickers on it if you want. We're not going to show me doing that because, like I said, that's cosmetic. That's up to you whether or not you want to put them on. But I will put them on this model, but I will not show me doing it. Now that we're finished with that model, now's the part that we've all been waiting for. We're now going to take a look at this finished model. So let's see what we've done, and let me tell you, it is awesome. What an absolutely beautiful model. I absolutely love this model. This is probably by far my favorite kit of all time so far. The colors on it are absolutely beautiful. I love that orange with that gold trim mixed in with the black inside. It is absolutely beautiful. Now that we got that out of the way, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm gonna try to make them better, with each episode, so hopefully they can only get better as we go on. I hope. I also want to remind everybody about our Patreon. We've got a Patreon page. If you guys like what we do and don't mind subscribing to get some extra stuff, you'll get your own episodes that are just for Patreon. You'll get a bunch of updates and behind the scenes stuff. And also don't forget about our Instagram. You can go there and check out and see models that we're working on and actually see updates of the episodes as I make them. I want everybody to be safe out there and have a wonderful time, and just remember, like the amazing Bill and Ted once said, be excellent to each other.